it's Dana Miller, Senior Reporter at Hotel News Now, here with Caribe Royale Orlando Managing Director Amaury Piedra. Hi, Amaury. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks. It's great being here in Nashville.
How was it arriving in today?
It was fantastic. I mean, it's exciting to be here for a couple of days at the Hotel Data Conference and sharing some of the news about Caribe Royale with you as well.
And I know we were talking earlier and you mentioned it's been about like 5 or 6 years since you've been here. So just curious on your take of kind of how you would describe the development of hotels and offices here compared to what you've seen before.
A lot of additional growth. I mean, it's amazing how the downtown area especially has grown, and you see a lot more hotels. And I know the market's been really good. So hopefully I don't overbuild, but it's definitely a big change in Nashville for the positive.
Yeah. Everywhere you look, you just see cranes still. Mm-hmm. So you became managing director of the property in 2020. I guess I was just curious how you would say you've kind of seen the hospitality industry evolve over these past 3 years.
Sure. Arrived there, a great ownership group hired me and arrived there in July of 2020 and during the pandemic. And obviously it was a very different time in the hotel business. But looking at the positive side and at the bright side of things, it gave us an opportunity to reimagine the hotel, determine exactly who and what we needed to be and where we needed to be positioned. And we're able to execute that during the pandemic. So when we came out of it, we were in a great position. That being said, it's the group market especially has definitely exploded in the last couple of years with pent-up demand. Mm-hmm. Resorts have also done very well. I know business travel has been a little bit slower to come back, and that's going to be, something that's going to work its way back. But definitely for group-oriented hotels, resorts, it's been a great time period. And, people want to travel. It's one of those things. People want to get out and experience new things, spend time with their families, or gather with their colleagues. Yeah.
And when we say group hotel, that can, of course, vary in size, but I feel like yours is a true group hotel, 1,000+ rooms, convention heavy, underwent a $140 million renovation. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Just
Sure.
The property?
We took a hotel that was 35% group and 65% leisure. And what we wanted to do was flip that, because we knew to be successful, we had to be 65, 70% group, 35% leisure. And we've kind of accomplished that. And we really programmed the hotel as we were going through the reimagining for at $140 million. I'm going to say thank you to our owner, Sierra Land Group, right now, because we're going to exceed that number by the time we finish all the projects. Oh, wow. But we programmed everything with the group customer in mind. And what are they going to need, and how to make the space the most flexible, how to have the best culinary items available from a banquet perspective, how do we serve restaurant quality food from a banquet perspective, from an IT perspective. We expanded our bandwidth 6 times to what we had before to accommodate the needs of today's groups. I mean, we really took a top to bottom look at the hotel and where do we need to go with it to make it a 4-diamond and to make it the most customer-friendly and group-friendly hotel in the Orlando market.
And to really support that volume, I mean, can you touch on how it's been staffing it up as you kind of evolve that programming?
Absolutely. I mean, it was, when we were opening our second tower back in, I guess it was in late 21, okay. we brought in 42 H-2B visa workers from Jamaica, because we couldn't open the tower without the room attendants, and we couldn't find room attendants. Mm-hmm. Now everything's stable enough that, those H-2B visa workers, we're very grateful to have them, but now they're going back home to Jamaica, and we have enough staff that we can do it ourselves. I think a couple of keys, it took a little while, but people came back to the hospitality industry to work. However, you also have to be creative and imaginative, and make sure you have the best work environment possible for your team. And there's different generations within that workforce, and you have to kind of not cater, but make sure that all those generations are taken care of with what's important to them.
Sure.
And I think that's been the key for us, and we've had minimal turnover. In fact, in 22, we only had 11% turnover, which for hotels, I'm not going to get into what the turnover is, but that's a fantastic number. And we do a lot to make sure that we have a good family environment to be able to keep the people there and make sure that they feel a part of something special.
That definitely speaks to the turnover rate, is just knowing that it is like family. So going back to the renovation, I'd love to hear some of the new spaces. I believe when we were talking before, you mentioned a stadium club that was added. Can you tell us about that? And was that kind of due to like the rise of sports betting and really what's going on with that?
Sure. Well, the big ones that we added was number one, the Palms Ballroom, which is a 50,000 square foot ballroom. So then that gave us over 220,000 square feet of meeting space. Then the Stadium Club, which is our 500 seat sports bar on steroids. It's really a combination of a sports bar and an adult playground because of everything that we have in there, came from the voice of the customer. Now, originally we knew we probably needed a big venue, that if we were successful, we needed this high energy venue for groups to go to and just either our leisure guests as well.
Yeah.
So once we saw what was happening in the group space and in the leisure space, we went ahead and spent the last couple of years putting Stadium Club together. So it's a very exciting concept. Opens in December, and it's a state-of-the-art sports bar, state-of-the-art lighting system, state-of-the-art sound system. You're gonna feel like you're in a stadium. Somebody scores a touchdown. The lighting, the smoke, the everything, and all our simulators and we have 8 simulators, state of the art, that can do anything from golf to football to baseball. It's really a fun adult area, and it's fun for the families as well. Yeah. But groups have really taken to it, and in fact, we have 4 buyouts already just in the first quarter because groups are so excited to do a private event there.
Something I just love so much about your team, your property, is just the customization side of things. I know you mentioned in the past that you guys really work hard to customize each group that comes in and let them kind of choose their destiny with it. So can you kind of speak to some of the things that you've seen? I know you mentioned in the past, like tech companies require a certain thing, but then insurance companies like a different type of thing. So what are you really seeing in terms of that?
So, one of the goals that we had was to be different. I mean, we don't have a brand. And I view that as an advantage in this space because a lot of times the brands are constricted on what they can do. And frankly, there's a little bit of a sea of sameness among the brands. And we want to stand out and be that independent, all-suite convention hotel with maybe a touch of lifestyle in the market and have some differentiation and be a disruptor. And that's like where the Stadium Club comes in. That's where, we're adding a new 20,000 square foot outdoor space, which groups have already booked for concerts. So they're bringing in their acts, concerts go out there. It's really cool.
Without even seeing it, right?
Well, we've shown them renderings and it's under construction and it opens in October.
Wow.
But so it's all voice of customer and how we can customize the experience and how they can have fun and make it different. I think the biggest thing on the customization side, and that's why our culinary team was built to deliver restaurant quality food in a banquet setting. People are not looking for the same old. Meeting planners and their companies and their clients, they want to provide unique experiences for their attendees. They have to keep them entertained. Sitting in a room for 8 hours just staring at a screen is not the norm anymore. No. So, they want to get outside for lunch instead of just going into another room. They want to do something outdoors for dinner, something unique. They want to create unique environments. We had one company that turned our reception building, which is a 2-story reception building, into a nightclub. So it was a nightclub, and each of the different restaurants or bars that are in that reception building had a different theme. And they loved it. And in fact, they're coming back again in 24 and again in 25.
So building repeat customers.
So, we have to be doing something right because the good news is that we have a lot of repeat clientele that are booking. These are big groups that are booking for years out. It depends on the company. For example, creative companies or companies that deal a lot with creative environments definitely want the fun for their team, the customization. Hey, let's have a blast. Let's really blow it out one night. From dancers in bubbles, in big inflatable bubbles in the pool, to the fun activities of face painting or everybody in 80s look and then whatever, to more traditional companies that still, even today, it may not be to that end, but they want something definitely different, to do an outdoor event where everybody can mingle. And there's still a percentage of the workforce that works from home, and it gives them an opportunity to really meet and spend time together and do that bonding that can never really happen strictly over a video conference call.
Yep. I think we saw a big rise in corporate retreats kind of happening post-pandemic, just to really have that fun with everybody and kind of rebond and, refocus. But
there's a human factor you can never take away from that.
Yeah.
So it's something that's going to be there.
I have to ask, I don't know if you remember, but I remember you once told me that there was like going to be a luau party that one group wanted to book. Did that ever happen?
Oh, it happened.
It
happened.
Yeah.
It happened around the pool.
Okay.
There was the big, there was the large roasted pig going on.
Man.
There was the luau dancers. There was the fire. There was all sorts of stuff going on. And we're blessed. We built we were able to build a very, very good team.
Yeah.
The best in Orlando, in my opinion, that takes care of the customers, and the customers are really wowed by it. And our meeting planner satisfaction, along with our guest satisfaction scores, I'll just say they're extremely high, and that really helps get the customers back. And kudos to our team for doing that.
That's amazing. So turning to you yourself, what's kind of your core focus this year? What are you kind of hoping to achieve?
There's a couple of things. Number one is maintaining the family culture in the hotel as we grow. I've seen corporations and companies and startups, whatever, and they have one corporate culture. And then as they grow, they kind of tend to lose it. We're blessed in the fact that we're privately owned, so we don't have to answer to shareholders or anything like that. And our owners are very much aligned with this philosophy. So the biggest thing is, number one, from a people culture perspective, as we surpass the 1,000 employee or associate mark, as we call it, to be able to maintain that family atmosphere and, make sure it trickles down to everybody. That's number one, because they're the ones that take care of the guests. Number two, we're expanding our meeting space. So we're going to add another 10,000 square foot ballroom.
Wow.
We're going to add another 7,500 square feet of meeting space that goes with that, because we've had a lot of demand for meetings in the 150, 200 to 350 category.
Sure.
And, that's a perfect area for them. It's almost like a self-contained area. We'll break ground on that, and that'll be done by the end of 24. So that's exciting to add that. And really getting the Stadium Club off the ground. I mean, if you were to walk in there and you see it, it's a really exciting venue. So, we're going to take a look at where we have areas of opportunity to improve upon the guest experience. That's been going well, but what else do we need to do to take it to the next level, and really look out not only at next year and the rest of this year, but the next 2 or 3 years out.
Yeah.
How do we keep up with technology, which is always a challenge. It's never ending. It's always changing. So what do we need? What do we see that's going out there for the next 2, 3, 4 years? Oh, and continuing to refine our app. We launched a Caribe Royale app this year, and we didn't launch it with the booking engine fully operational because we wanted to make sure we worked out the kinks before. We're getting hundreds of uses and hundreds of uses within the hotel when people are there. And now we turned on the booking engine, and we've actually been getting our first bookings through the app. So it's really exciting. So how do we continue to refine that, and how do we continue to ensure it gets into the potential or current customers' hands?
Amazing. Well, you know what? Ditch Disney World. I just want to come hang out at your property. It seems like the one-stop shop for everything. But
Disney's our neighbor, and we love them. But
Yes,
but Caribe has a lot going on.
Yeah. So, okay, if not labor, if not a recession, what's kind of keeping you up at night? What's worried on your mind? What are you thinking about?
Well, I will touch upon the recession. Labor is first of all is always an issue. Like I say, we had small turnover, which means our team is doing a good job. We're doing a good job at taking care of our associates. Okay. But there's always opportunities, so we'll keep working on that. The other thing, the recession is, it's funny because you read the newspaper, and depend what newspaper or what channel you're on, there's a recession, there's not a recession, there's this, there's that. And there's things that, we can control, and there's things that we can't control. So, the meetings market is still strong. So we're not seeing really any weakness in that. And, I think that's the biggest thing, to be able to maintain the momentum and to make sure we don't let outside factors play into what we're doing. Again, you hear one thing on one channel, you hear one thing on another, depends. But so far, the economy's holding strong, and it's resilient, and, we'll see where we end up. Everything's a cycle. But the biggest thing is just to be able to, look forward and make sure that we have everything in place, and that we had tremendous growth over the last 2 years. So how can we keep growing, and what are the areas that we can still impact, either from a customer satisfaction, associate satisfaction, meeting planner satisfaction, whatever perspective, to make sure that we stay in the forefront of everybody's mind, and frankly also continue to spread the word about Caribe.
Yeah.
We were speaking, we still speak to people that say, hey, I've never heard of you. Oh, that's great. But, that's almost preferable. And then what we do is, once we educate them and we get them on property and they experience it, the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah.
It's been really, really good. Been very well received what we've done.
Yeah. Amaury, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. But before I let you go, I just want to hear one thing that you're most excited about for the industry in 2024.
Yeah, I think that the because there hasn't been there's not a ton of new construction in the pipeline because of many issues. I think you're going to see continued growth. I think you're going to see continued growth in average rate from demand. I think you're going to see a little bit of occupancy growth from continued demand as well. So I think when you look at the industry as a whole, we're in a really good shape, and a lot of people took steps during the pandemic to maybe make changes that were harder to make during a time of being open or what have you. But I think that the hotel industry keeps maturing and keeps growing, and I think the industry as a whole needs to continue to step up and ensure that this next generation of employees that's coming in, or managers, knows that, like myself, it's been a great career, and it's been really enjoyable, and that it's a lot of fun, and it's our duty almost to mentor that next generation of hoteliers. So I think we're in a good place as we head into 24. I'm excited about it.
That's a great note to end on, to just focus on that next group coming up, to remind them that this is a great industry to work in, and there's so many opportunities. But thank you so much for your time today. It was
thank you.
So much fun talking with you. I really appreciate it.
No, it's been great being here. Thanks to you for your time, and look forward to the rest of the conference.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Davon Reed.
I'm Omari Head.
And I'm Chris Henry.
We're the hosts of the Next Gen and Lodging podcast on the Hotel News Now podcast network. It's a monthly show in which we interview a new generation of hoteliers to get their insights into a variety of disciplines and topics, from finance to food and beverage and hotel operations. Listen to us on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.